As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer. Yeah, got a point.
It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he?
But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. I wouldn't say impossible, but again, I'm not gonna make a point for magic in this particular case, because we might lose because of it. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I cannot leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet.
Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here...
She's right. I cannot mess up here. I gotta get this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Akro killed the ringmaster. And he did it while he was in his room. No doubt about it. Yeah. If there were no traces of another person that's on the scene of the crime and cannot move out of his chair at all, then the next logical step would be to think of how he did it from his own room. I mean, his room can be considered a good spot for them to do the murder, given that his room is on top of the crime scene. It is a good vantage point. Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingley committed the crime, Mr. Wright. Okay, this one is going to cost me some penalty over here. Okay, I think about this. Let's present some evidence. I think I know what the evidence we should use for this. Let's see if this is actually going to be good. I'm going to present some evidence. So, what did Mr. Dingley use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry? What did Mr. Dingley use? That I can answer quite clearly. Was it this? Nah, it was this. Max's G-Bust. This is what they used to kill Russell Berry. Who was that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture. The bust? It's quite a large bust. And because it is life-sized, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a first-story window. Ah! How about them apples? Franny Mick, foolish girl from a foolish rich family of foolish fools. See? This is how Acker was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Cause boy oh boy, that is one big bust. Hold up, hold up. So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster? A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
How could he possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Yep, truly. Cause look at him. He sure is quite a beefcake. Mr. Dingley, how do you respond to these charges? Well, I am flattered that you would call me a beefcake, but...
Acro's at a loss for words.
He should be. He knows how much of a beefcake he is. Well, Acro. You cannot run free. Ow!
I'd watch what I say, if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself.
Testimony, you say? Oh, the testimonies. They're so yummy. Von Karma. She's just using this testimony as a rouse to stall for time. Huh. There is absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond.
The defense's objection is overruled. Huh. How interesting. Now the roles have been reversed. Before, we had to wish for another cross-examination in order to get some more time and think about it. While the prosecution objected to that and said that there is no need for a cross-examination, for testimony. Now, it's the opposite. Very interesting.
What's even more interesting is your tiny pubis.
You say one more word and I'm going to— Mr. Noby, shoot that gun once, and I'll kick you out of the courtroom for contempt of court. Ah, darn.
Suck on that, pussy!
Why can't he see things my way once in a while? He does. He does quite often, from what I remember. Mr. Digby, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you. Ugh, that woman will sink to any low to win a case. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? I have no doubts in regards to this witness's testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really.
Look who's talking. I cannot let her get to me. I've got to focus. Yeah? What are you... Hey! That's my gun! What the? Mr. Noby, what did I just say?
But it wasn't me! It was the bird!
As if I would believe such a thing. Bailiff! Alright, so now I'm back. With one condition. I had to repair Phoenix's nuts in order to get inside the trial once again and continue this. So let's get to it. With magic, of course. There's no way to repair a man's nuts in that short amount of time without magic. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. Okay, the question is, should I press this or should I not? Let's press this. Let's press every statement from now on. Have you ever lifted up the bust before? No, I've never actually lifted it up with my own two hands. But I should get to it, don't you think? I cannot let money outdo me on this. Money? That crazy monkey has lifted Max's bust before? So you're saying that it was money that stole the bust?
I mean, technically can be considered a shiny object in some way, shape, or form, but
Still. Please continue with your testimony, Mr. Dingling. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. Hold it! So what have you been doing to keep this shape? Well, honestly, I've given up on training. I don't have any plans to return to the trapeze or a tightrope. You don't say. But no offense, I'm not worried about losing to you in a race or anything.
neither am I, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I won't lose either, Slowpoke. Nick.
Whoa. How did the discussion turn to me all of a sudden? And why am I the loser in everything? Why is everyone the winner? Everyone except Phoenix. I suppose you could say that I'm stronger than the average bear. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. I mean, I surely would win in a strength competition with Phoenix. And I'm all just bones! And why is that? Because if I were to do that, I'd end up failing. I'd end up falling out the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back in my legs yet. So you couldn't have thrown that bust out of the window? There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. How long do you think your recovery will take? You have to remember that my nerves were severely damaged. I'm currently undergoing some extreme intensive rehabilitation. But it's still going to take a while before I'm back to 100%. I do have to wonder. His accident, the way he is now, is more than likely because of the accident like 6 months ago. And if he's still on a wheelchair right now, it kinda makes me question this, but I wouldn't know. I surely would not know.
Let me remind you of one other very important point. If the witness was carrying the bust, he would not be able to see out below the window.
That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Why do you say it would be impossible? Allow me to explain. You accepted if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window. Thus, there is no way that I would know the location of the ringmaster's head.
No, I suppose you got a point.
Still, if we are talking about throwing up a bust out the window, of course you wouldn't be able to control the throw all the way down, except in a very specific point. And you know that specific point very well, Acro.
Hey, Nick.
Huh? What's up, Maya?
What if you turn things around? Maybe if you think it started like this. If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust.
That does make sense. My, Maya. Once again, you're making me happy with your thinking here. If only I could prove somehow that Acro knew the location of the ringmaster's head without looking down. Well, he surely knew the location. He surely knew where he wanted the bust to fall specifically. With one particular item I can think of. I think I've already explained things sufficiently. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? If all you had to do was drop it, then it wouldn't have been a problem at all. If all I had to do was drop it, you're right. I could have done that. Yeah, well, there you have it. However, there is no way that I could land a direct hit on the ringmaster's head. Ah, I see. Okay, well, my way of thinking, the idea that I got before still stands though. So that kind of makes sense. So that kind of makes your theory a bit pointless, doesn't it, Mr. Wright? Akira is strong enough to lift up the bust.
The main problem is how he could have aimed for the ringmaster's head.
I wonder if he used some kind of tool to aim for the ringmaster. Okay, so it's not that he wanted to drop in a specific location. He wanted to drop it on the ringmaster's head specifically. And the ringmaster could have been anywhere, for all he would know, because he couldn't see where the ringmaster was. But with the help of a specific item, he would know very well where the ringmaster's head would be at one specific point.
That's a ticket, Nick. Show them what he got.
I have to be careful. I have to find something that fits perfectly with the case.
And I remember us finding in a sort of tool. But maybe we overlooked something.
Suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. The thing is, though, he still wouldn't have been able to see the ringmaster if what they said about his condition is true. The documents are real about his health, and even if he knew where his head would be, we're still talking about timing over here. Okay, well, might as well try. There is no shame in trying. I mean, I have all this penalty health over here, so might as well. You could have known the ringmaster's head with this. Akro, you didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of the time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show some evidence?
But I did such a good job hinting. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Okay, maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over? Yes, indeed. Keep in mind that up until now, we never knew the secret behind this box, like what the box was doing there. It was used for this. The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here?
Who?
When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. But I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bust came falling down, all shit was going down. It was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean?
If the busts were there to fall upon the point of marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No!
This does raise a question though, although I wouldn't want to say this in front of the judge, because that way it would be against us, but obviously Acro had to put that box before death could happen. So he would have to go all the way there without any accomplice. The thing is though, what if there was a risk of somebody else finding that box and moving it out of the way? And if we go by the assumption that Acro would have no means of looking out the window, he wouldn't even know the chest wouldn't even be there. Thus, the ringmaster wouldn't have been distracted by the box and look inside. Therefore, the plan would have failed. So it was pretty risky if somebody were to find that box before the ringmaster. Order! This is unbelievable. I'm preposterous. Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going. And there's only one way to go from here. Forward. The only thing to do from now on is to face forward, Phoenix Wright. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the seat? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Oh, okay. You know, I was thinking of the rope thing with the bus, but I never thought about the acro using the chest. Cause, well, do keep in mind, he probably could go outside of the plaza with some effort and all that, but still, it's not easy for him to go out of his room and all that. So either he went down to put that chest, or, put it easily, use a rope for that chest as well.
Ow! Allow me to whip some. Ow! 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 The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box.
That's why the box was so specially made!
Specially made?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. The size of the box, the weight of the box. It was surely the contents of the box. There was something inside it, but let's say about the weight of the box. It was just super heavy. The box has a remarkable weight.
Wait.
According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box would have required... Oh, I see. One would have to squat down and lift it up with their body, would you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. Oh, so I guess that was the solution, okay. Yeah, I see. The box also has carrying handles on the other side, doesn't it? That is also correct. My, you're sharp as a tack today, Judge. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Foo! Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? Jeez, he is hard as stone. He is quite the beefcake. As I said before, I've heard what you have to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza? Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. Wright, did he call the original location of Max's bust? In fact, I do. Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself.
That means...
You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? Well, you're telling me that there is absolutely no way for you to go outside your room. I mean, we have established that, but still. How long have you been living in your room for? For 6 months? I seriously doubt that. Not to mention that the bus was stolen like, say, I think it was like 6 days ago by this point. Or, hold on a second. Maybe the idea of an accomplice is not to be thrown out the window. Well, whether it was intentional being an accomplice or not, I'm still thinking of an idea over here. Yeah, it is true. Let's say that a.k.a. was not able to go outside the window.
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Explains that. Don't forget, he said there was no accomplice. Ah!
Okay, well, it is like I said. It doesn't have to be an intentional accomplice that Acro hired in order to do this?
Tell us exactly how as a witness would have carried a bus from the cafeteria.
Yep, we definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all. Alright, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room? Okay, I'm thinking about this. The accomplice that Acro didn't even think about, the one that keeps things in one corner, it has to be the monkey. A monkey? No. It's like this. Monkey! Everyone knows Money. He loves shiny objects of any size. Oh, like when he stole the JFA's ring. Yeah, indeed.
So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust?
Of course, it didn't order the monkey to steal it. Because Money already did it without Acro knowing. And then Acro had the idea of, aha, I could use the bust that Money stole. The Money stole it on his own, and then brought it back home. Home? Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room? Yeah, I mean, he has like all sorts of stuff in the corner of Acro's room. You know, like a lot of heavy stuff. Like, if it wasn't for Max's bust, it could have been anything else. It could have been a tuba for all we know.
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Yeah. If we are to take it literally, then yeah, but think about it. No, it's quite a big bust. He wouldn't be able to resist it. Maybe I should put a whip down sometimes and read the court record. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Ah, okay, I was... Okay, jokes aside, yeah, it is those cards that are doing the shiny. Those cards are doing the shiny? Yep, they are totally doing the shiny. Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny. They were the ones that were doing the shiny. Acro. Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order! I said order! Miss Von Karma. Where's the bust in question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then? He would have thrown... Acro would have thrown the tuba at the ringmaster's head. Yeah, still would have done the job. Oh, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon.
Wait. Then you mean this bus was the murder weapon? Purely by accident?
Yeah, more than likely. And whether it was Acro that thought of this or not, if he thought that it would actually help him or not, it did help in the end. It did make Mo think that it was Max to begin with. It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer.
Moron! You fool! You fools of a fool!
Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. Nice one there, Judge. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that.
Don't seem so bamboozled, especially by this fraud of attorney.
Flamboozled? I feel like I've heard that word before. Flamboozled. Oh no, it was bamboozled. Man, that is quite an interesting word there. Flamboozled. Fraud.
You forgot the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
And what is that?
You should know. You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime.
Oh! That is indeed true.
There is no reason to doubt the clown's testimony.
And we did prove that in the investigation when no Cyclops appeared. He truly did believe that he saw Max there. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright?
Nick, don't let her beat you now.
I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around. Okay. So what I said in my theory part from before this trial still stands strong. However, this is gonna be the tricky part. Let's see if I'm actually gonna be right about this or not. Because boy oh boy, this is gonna be quite an interesting one.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Riddle me this. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
Who was the murderer the clown saw? Obviously. Obviously, he was the lion. How did I not think about this? Of course, it was the lion. It was a flying lion. Oh god, I made a terrible mistake. I did a terrible mistake. What have I done? Was this supposed to be? What is this supposed to mean?
Yes, what is that supposed to mean?
Do you mind explaining that to me as well?
You're getting bored with questions, Nick. And especially from me. Like, what the fuck are you thinking here?
Why is that? Why is that?
It's because you're on the wrong track.
Ouch. Oh.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
Okay, well, if I had no idea about this, then I totally would have been stuck here, because clearly we cannot think of anybody around here. So it is not a matter of who, but rather it was a matter of what the clown saw. It was Max's G-Bust. He saw Max's butt. Bow!
I asked, who was the other person Mo saw on the scene? Said evidence has nothing to do with a question.
Okay, just put the whip down for a second, please. You have to listen to the end here. Sheesh. You are such an impatient woman. Objection! Au contraire, mon frère. It does indeed have something to do with the question. Oh, mon Dieu.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Oh, the fouf.
Mo said he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. He wasn't a human being he saw. Well, I mean, technically I was right before. He wasn't a human being. He was the lion that did it. But that would imply that we're talking about a flying lion over here, which once again we're going into magic territory over here, and the judge surely does not like that. How is that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
There is no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one of the cards in the bust's hands. Oh, so you're saying that it was the cards that did the job? That it was the cards that made it so the cloak would hang to it?
I guess.
Unless they were very, very, very sharp, in which case it would cut through the cloak and all that, and I guess I can totally understand that.
Idiot! Who in the right mind would put a cloak on a bust?
It doesn't matter who put it on a bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put a cloak on a bust? That question is of the utmost importance in this case. Don't you agree?
Oh!
He caught me. So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? Well, shit, what the fuck am I even supposed to do here? I mean, again, you're asking me who, but there is no such thing as a who. It just happened. Who? Ho ho ho? Of course. Either it was an owl, or it was Santa Claus. They both have the means of flying in the air, and technically it wouldn't be considered magic, unless we're talking about Christmas magic. And Christmas just went by. No, it definitely has to be Santa Claus. It has to be. It has to be. Oh, okay. My bad. I was thinking of the other case where we had Larry Butts dressed up as Santa Claus. Okay, well. Okay, jokes aside, what am I even supposed to do here? We did say that there is no accomplice. We cannot go back on that. We cannot say that, oh, of course there was an accomplice. Because if we were to say that, yes, in the end there was an accomplice, then Money would be capable of just going down the rope and just attach the cloak to Max's bust without having to touch the ground in the first place. That would actually be a good idea. That would make sense. Okay, I didn't even think about that. That would actually make sense if I were to say that when I did that video. But if we're talking about not having an accomplice at all, then... No accomplice, no accomplice, no accomplice. Obviously the victim would not be... Oh boy, this is gonna suck royally. I have no idea how to put this. And it's gonna cost me like free penalty over here. Okay, you know what? Okay, let's go with the monkey.
I wonder, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Didn't the defendant wear his cloak the entire time he was at practice? So then how did this person get a hold of the cloak?
Well,
Furthermore, how would this person have gotten the cloak onto the bust, I wonder? Because this person was not spotted at the scene.
I'm sorry. When she's so nice about telling me I'm wrong, it hurts even more. Ow! And then she's back to her normal self.
The famous Von Karma carrot and whip approach. Or do you want me to go with that one song from The Lord of the Rings? Which, I think it was from The Lord of the Rings, but nonetheless. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? Who?
Input the passcode, ho ho ho!
The only person that I can think of is Russell Berry, even though technically he didn't put the cloak on the bust, but rather when the bust hit Russell Berry, the cloak got attached to the bust. It's not that he put it on the cloak when he got hit. Here goes nothing.
Fool! Him?
You're saying it was the victim himself? Russell Berry? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the victim himself placed a cloak on the bust?
Yeah, I'm questioning this as well. Did the victim place the cloak on the bust on purpose? Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright?
Explain yourself!
Jeez, calm down, woman. Jeez, just take a chill pill here. Yeah, you're gonna lose. There's no denying that. So you have to face the fact. You have to face the truth here, Franny. So just be calm about it, please. It doesn't look good to your heart.
Nick, do you really have a handle on all this?
I haven't seen a person so mad like that since Fujihiko Kuzuryu from Danganronpa 2. I mean, Jesus, he was angry in the first part of the game of Danganronpa 2. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint, anyways. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Well, let's step back in time. a.k.a. used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then, he attached the rope to the bust, and dangled the bust out of his bedroom in window, directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room, and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night, for some unknown reason. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the scene at the entrance of the lodging house by none other than Ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trilo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when a.k.a. took his chance and released the rope. Yeah, I mean, if you were to look at that picture, a.k.a. definitely could have seen what's down there at that size, at that height. Now this is when the magic happens. So it is true. It was actually magic. It was true magic. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim. Wait for it. The magic is about to begin. It is about to happen, ladies and gents. One of the most fearsome magic types of all. Death magic! Wonderful. And yeah, I guess that's how it got attached. Even though it makes no sense.
You wait just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It cannot be.
It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Wonkarma. This circus isn't over yet.
What?
The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. That impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Smokehurls, the clown. When Mo looked out this window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, a.k.a. naturally went about putting up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Mo saw the bust being raised, with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because, in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that is how the magical murder disappearing into the sky came to be. Oh boy. What a way to end the year here, Phoenix Wright. With death magics like that. The magical murder disappearing into the sky. That could totally be like a good story, like a murder mystery story for a novel of some sorts. Like a Hercule Poirot type murder mystery story. Sherlock Holmes? I mean, I can totally see. It kind of makes me question if there is like a murder mystery story out there that has to do with circus. If not, then, well, Phoenix Wright would be the first one here.